We start with Prema Dhvani. Jai Nitya Leela Om Vishnupad Paramhansa Prajivajakaacharya Ashtostar Shat Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedant Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vranda ki Jai. Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद जय अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। नवद्वीप धाम की जय। जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। गंगा मैया की जय। यमुना मैया की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय। बृहद मृदंग की जय। समावेद भक्त वृंद की जय। गौर परमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Guru and Gauranga. So let us start with our verses. Srimad Bhagavatam is such a ripened fruit, and the taste of it will make our life very happy, because you must have noticed, if you taste mango, and there is nothing like that, you feel like to eat mango, drink mango juice, and all kind of rasas are there, tastes are there. You can make many preparations. So today's verses are from Bhagavatam Canto 1, Chapter 10, verses are text 11 and 12. So I will do like this. I will read verses, then the translation purport, and then we'll discuss. So 11 and 12, Satsanga Mukta Dasango Hatu Notsahate Buddha Kirtamanam Yasho Yasya Sakruda Karnarochanam Tasminnastasdhya Partha Saheran Vyaraham Katham Darshanam Sparshasam Lapya Shayanasana Bhojane. And the verse 13 is Sarve te mishair shaistan anudhrita chetasaha vikshanta sneha sambandha viche duksh tatra tatra iti. So reading translation by Srila A.C. Bhakti Vedant Swami Srila Prabhupada. The intelligent who have understood the Supreme Lord in association with pure devotees. I say the intelligent people will hear in the association of pure devotees and have become freed from bad materialistic association. So they are no more in association with bad people. They give up. And these people can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord. That means they are so much eager to hear Hari Katha, Krishna Katha, and the glories of the Lord, even though they have heard them only once. In certain cases, the certain neophyte devotees, those who come, even they hear it for the first time, even though they have heard them only once. Now here he says, how then could the Pandavas tolerate his separation? His separation means Lord Krishna's separation. For they had been intimately associated with his person, seeing him face to face, touching him, conversing with him, and sleeping, sitting, and dining with him. Actually, we do with your friends. The translation of text 13 is, all their hearts were melting for him. All these Pandavas' hearts were melting for Lord Krishna. On the spot of attraction, they looked at him without blinking their eyes, and they moved hither and thither in perplexity. Means almost they were confused what is to be done now, and they were moving from here and there. So we'll read the purport, the 11 and 12. The living being's constitutional position is one of serving a superior. He is obliged to serve by the force that dictates of illusory material energy in different phases of sense gratification. And in serving the senses, he is never tired. So the person is never tired. Even though he may be tired, the illusory energy perpetually forces him to do so without being satisfied. There is no end to such sense gratificationary business, and the conditioned soul becomes entangled in such servitude without hope of release. The release is only affected by association with pure devotees. So here it is mention of whatever the person is fully engrossed and got entangled in the sense gratification, they can get a release it only affected by association with pure devotee. By such association, one is gradually promoted to his transcendental consciousness. Thus, he can know that his eternal position is to render service unto Lord and not to the perverted senses in the capacity of lust, anger, desire to lord it. Material society, friendship, and love are all different phases of lust. I'll read it again. Material society, friendship, and love are all different phases of lust. Home, country, family, society, wealth, and all sorts of corollaries are all cause of bondage in the material world. And all sorts of corollaries are also causes of bondage in the material world. Their threefold miseries of life are commitment factor. By associating with pure devotees and by hearing them submissively. I'll repeat it again. By associating with pure devotees and by hearing them submissively, attachment for material enjoyment becomes slackened. And attraction for hearing about the transcendental activities of the Lord becomes prominent. This you can realize if you are reading 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Now I'll continue reading. Once they will go on progressively without stopping, like fire in gunpowder. It is said that Hari, the personality of Godhead, is so transcendently attractive that even those who are self-satisfied by self-realization and are factually liberated from all material bondage also become devotees of the Lord. Under the circumstances, it is easily understood what must have been the position of Pandava. After reading all this purport, all this portion of purport, we can understand how the Pandavas were feeling. And the Pandavas, who are constant companion of the Lord, they could not even think of separation from the Lord, Sri Krishna, since the attraction was more intense for them because of continuous personal contact, his remembrance by his form, quality, name, fame, pastimes, etc., is also attractive for the pure devotee. So much so that he forgets all forms, quality, name, fame, and activities of the mundane world. And due to his mature association with pure devotee, he is not out of contact with the Lord for a moment. So we find it here that the Pandavas could not think of separation from Sri Krishna. Now, purport for verse number 13. Krishna is naturally attractive for all living beings because he is the chief eternal amongst the all eternals. I'll repeat it. Krishna is naturally attractive for all living beings because the reason is he is the chief eternal amongst all eternals. He alone is the maintainer of many eternals. That is so. This is stated in Katha Upanishad, and thus one can obtain permanent peace and prosperity by revival of one's eternal relationship with him. Now this is now forgotten under the spell of Maya, the illusory energy of the Lord. Once this relation is slightly revived, the conditioned soul at once becomes freed from the illusion of material energy and becomes mad after association of the Lord. The association is made possible not only by personal contact with the Lord, but also by the association with his name, fame, form, and quality. Srimad Bhagavatam trains the conditional soul to stage of perfection by submissive hearing from the pure devotee. Hare Krishna. So, we are reading here two things: the separation from the Lord Krishna and the position of Pandavas. So let us discuss. Om Agyantimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurum Shri Utapadakkamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahaganarditam Shri Vishakham Cha Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakham He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu bhayevacha patitanam pamanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo Rama Rama Hare Hare. So let us start with the some practical thing which is we can understand. Fight against Maya. I'm sure that everybody knows the game of football. I'm sure everybody knows it. Am I audible? Is it clear?
Yes, Prabhu. Loud and clear, yes.
Clear, no? The sound is okay. Now in Maya, if we fight against Maya, it is like a game of football. You have to score for go back home, back to Godhead, and in front of that there is a goalkeeper. And the Maya, her servants are all over the field. The question is, if you start taking your ball in the area where the Maya's servants are there, you will face resistance. You will have to dribble, you have to go, you have to bypass, you have to with force, aggression, and up to go near the goal post. And when we go near the goal post, when you are dribbling the ball, taking the ball forward, it is like advancing the spiritual life. That is spiritual portion. And there you will find when we are almost near the goal, so many assistant and servants of Maya and Maya herself, she is in front of the goal to resist you not to go inside or to advance further. This happens when a person started his spiritual life. He comes across so many resistance and always feel as he is putting more days and days, why his difficulties and inconveniences and the problems in his lives are growing and becoming more intense and more powerful than which were there initially. On contrary, if he thinks to play in his portion, that is his area, zone, where the sense gratifications are there, and what is the goal in his area? If he himself scores a goal in his goal post, that is destruction of his spiritual future. So he keeps on playing. If he keeps on playing in his area, nobody will resist it. And even the opposition, Maya's servants will not come. He say that they will watch and he will say that funny thing is happening. And he is, without saying this, keep on pushing his ball, dribbling it, and nobody, no resistance. And this is exactly happening in the material life. When you are not making any efforts for spiritual advancement, so Maya is very pleased. Her servants and herself, they are just watching the fun. And we keep on traveling towards the destruction of our spiritual life. And that is what we call is the bodily concept. And if we fight against Maya, this is going to happen in everyone's life. And this is to such an extent, once Prabhupada, when he was facing deities and praying, and the tears were coming from his eyes. And that time, the disciples asking, Prabhupada, why there were tears? And Prabhupada says that I'm praying sincerely to my Lord that please save me from Maya, because Maya is so strong and any moment she can pull us down. Now, this is about the Maya's role. Coming to the emotion part, the Pandavas showing here. So let us go and refer NOD, Nectar of Devotion, and see how much rasas are there and how it works. The Pandavas were mostly in relation, as it is seen from verse 11 and 12, they were in the Sakhyaras. They were friendly with Lord Krishna. They used to eat, dine, sleep, play, everything with Krishna. So there are 5 primary rasas. Basically, it is Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhuryaras. And along with, there are also secondary 7 rasas. Those are Hasyaras, Karunaras, Raudraras, Veeraras, Bhayanakras, Bibhatsaras, and Adbhutras. Now, since we have limited time, so we'll not go to the details of it, but the exploring is given of this rasas by Jiva Goswami in his Shat Sandarbhas, Sri Shat Sandarbhas. And in NOD, the verse 2.1.5 by Rupa Goswami, he describes the Bhakti Ras. The Bhakti Ras is the process through which, Bhakti Ras is through the process of hearing and so on, when the Sthayi Bhav or Rati for Krishna mixes with Vibhava, this is also one of the bhav, like Sthayi Bhav, Anubhava, another, Satvik Bhav, and Vabhichari Bhav. When all these 5 get mixed with, it produces an extraordinary taste in the heart of devotee, and it is called Bhakti Ras. Like I went to a cricket match, and that time they told me there is a special drink called cocktail. They are also given the name of cricket. And then I noticed it is tasting wonderful. And I asked him a recipe, and he said it's a mixing of various juices. So similarly, all these rasas, when are mixed, this produces an extraordinary taste in our heart, that is the heart of devotees, and it is called Bhakti Ras. So for more details, this is going to be more technical. So if you are interested, you can refer NOD, and you will get more details about the Bhakti Ras. Actually, what we are talking, what in the 11th and 12th is referring to the Bhakti of Pandavas toward Lord. So my request, now we are starting the discussion. My request, if possible, if you want that I should interact with you, so I'll prefer that you can open your videos and let me have your interaction, your darshan. I'll prefer that. Choice is yours, option is yours. So here it is mentioned that intolerable separation. Now, what is this? The intelligent person free from bad association, it is said. That means we are avoiding bad people and they get attracted to Lord Krishna and Lord's glories. And it is said here that even if they hear it once, and the result is, then how can Pandavas who are intimately absorbed in Krishna get away with this? Because they were seeing, touching, conversing, sleeping, sitting, and eating with him. How can they tolerate separation from the Lord? All their hearts melted, and this is in the third verse, all their hearts melted in affection. They looked upon him with unblinking eyes and moved in perplexity. Let us start with the real factors, real situation in our life. I will start with the realization. Now, I'll start with a couple of things which I understood after reading this. Certain emotions are material, certain are spiritual. And that we have to distinguish with the help of Srimad Bhagavatam. It so happened in 1961, almost 61 years before, when I was in Nagpur, in India, my great-grandmother was leaving for a place called Amravati, which is almost 180 kilometers, or you would say that around 120 or 115 miles from my place. And my grandmother was also there, mother was also there, I was there, my sister was there, everybody was there. And they started crying when she was leaving to go to that place. I was surprised. I was at the age of 6. I couldn't understand why they are crying. Mother was not crying. Sister was not crying. I was not crying. But grandmother and great-grandmother, they were crying. And I could only understand that they were separating that time, and that is why they were crying. And it was still puzzle for me for many, many years. The second example I can give it, it was in 1992, we had Barsanai camp, and there was a yatra for 3 days organized by the devotees. And the one day, first day we went in the places nearby. The second day we had a Govardhan Parikrama. And the third day, because everybody has to catch train, so they went to a place called Bhat Road. That is the temple where the Leela of Brahman Patnis, those who are pleased the Lord Krishna by serving him food, and the Brahmanas ask the Gopals to go away. After that, we visited the Akrur Ghat, and after Katha, we were supposed to leave. And that time, it was almost 30 years before. And now I'm old, that time I was young. So everybody was young that time, and Guru Maharaj was also young. So I noticed at the time of separation, the tears were coming from each and every devotee. That was the first time I experienced the understanding separation from the devotees. Similarly, separation from devotees, another my personal realization is in the year 2004, it was the yatra in Vrindavan, where almost 4,500 people were there, devotees were there. And evening after the class, we were returning. It was 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the night, and it was dark. So in Vrindavan, there was not battery operated auto or rickshaws that time. There were cycle rickshaw. It is pulled by a man. So we have no option, but we took it. So two of us were sitting in the cycle rickshaw, and there were no rickshaws. So two more of devotees, the rickshaw person asked them they can hang behind the rickshaw. Those who are gone to Vrindavan, they can understand how the rickshaw is. And then we were going, and suddenly we were supposed to go to a place called Harini Kunj. And suddenly there was a jolt, and the rickshaw toppled. After that, the devotee who fell down, who was behind, his leg was twisted. And then we can't make it out what has happened. So we went to a doctor from the camp, and he said that X-rays to be taken out, and we tried. It took so much time, and we couldn't find out what is the reason. So they advised me that since I was there in that rickshaw, I should go with the devotee to Mumbai to Bhaktivedanta Hospital for further treatment. We took money, boarded in a plane, and we reached by afternoon, and he was admitted. And evening I was sleeping, but I couldn't sleep. I was restless throughout the night. And middle of the night, I phoned to airport to find out whether there is any air ticket for Delhi from Mumbai. And to my fortune, there was one. I booked it. Next day morning, early morning, around 6 o'clock, I went. took a flight, and around 11 or 12, I reached in the afternoon, and everybody was surprised. They said that you didn't go about. So that time also I realized the importance of separation from devotee. Now, coming to scripture, Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's about is a reference, you will find it in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Khanda, chapter 7, and the verse will be somewhere around 41 to 58. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya received him. We all know the story. After some days, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu approached Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and requested him, I want your order to visit South India, because my brother Vishwarup has taken sannyas and gone to South India. So I have to go and find it out. I will be back soon. With your permission, I shall soon return very happily. That time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya caught hold of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lotus feet and said, Hey Lord, after many births due to pious activities, I got your personal association. And now the providence is breaking this. It is just like a thunderbolt fall on my head. I will not feel so sorry even if my son dies or thunderbolt fall on my head. It is unbearable. For the separation from you, I cannot tolerate. Now what happened? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like here in this chapter is happening, like the Pandavas request, Lord stayed for a few days or a month. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained there with them for another 5 days. And there came the time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately left everyone without looking behind. Like normally when see somebody off, that person shows you and make some gestures. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't waited for anything, because he was sure that if you look back, he will get again entangled and he will have to stay back. So this is how we find the separation, power of separation. Now my request for you, we have almost say around 15 to 20 minutes, will be a possible one or two of you can give your own experience about separation within a couple of minutes after the class, means at the time of question and answer in the comment section. And regarding the question, my request will be, if you put it on chat box, then I will find it easier, because phonics and accent, I find it difficult to understand, and especially the speed at which the people speak here, that is a little faster for me. So that is my request. Now coming to the eagerness about hearing. It is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 29th chapter, and the verse 39 and 40. It is said that a businessman is always eager. businessman is always eager for which place? He is always eager to go to a place where the business transactions are taking place because he finds the business is there. The corollary analogy of this is that a devotee is always eager to hear. It is given in Srimad Bhagavatam in purport. He is always eager to hear from the lips of a liberated soul or a devotee. By hearing from a devotee, there is impregnation of love and impregnation of Krishna consciousness in the heart of devotee. So you'll find there are similar references in Srimad Bhagavatam also. Here also in the verse 13 we find it, and same is there in Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto. Now the conclusion of the whole class, what we have learned and what we have discussed is, as far as Prabhupada's purport here, the material society, friendship and love, material society, material friendship and material love are all different phases of lust. That is not counted as love because Krishna is not there at all. So he has given a list. He says home, your relation in the home, country and family, society, your wealth, and all sort of corollaries are the cause of bondage in the material world. And if you get entangled and into the bondage of material world, then you have to face threefold miseries. On the other hand, as per these verses, associating with pure devotee and hearing submissively will attract us toward the Lord, and attachment for the material enjoyment will be slackened. And slowly, this is the realization also you will find if you study, read and practice 11th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It is described there, the term called de-taste. Your taste for the sense gratification will be slackened and slowly it will go away because you have attraction for Lord and hearing about the transcendental activities and the pastimes of the Lord. And those things will become very, very prominent. So this is in short sum total of today's verses. Now my request, I will request to hear comments from you. So I will select from the list of devotees here, couple of devotees. Please be free, frank. Tell your own experience about the separation, maybe material or in view with the connection with Lord Krishna. So I will be very much obliged. So I will ask Bhaktiman Prabhu, kindly give your realization about separation. You have to open mic. Mic is not on. Unmute. Thank
Sorry,
you.
Prabhu.
Hari
Thank
Hari.
you for wonderful class, Prabhu. you mentioned about this Prabhu who fell off this rickshaw and you took him to the hospital. I found that wonderful that you give him the the assistance that he needs. Sometimes it's difficult to consider when we're so busy with things that even devotees also need association from God brothers and the association from the spiritual family. HG Prabhu calls this the family business, distributing the holy name. So by doing that, we need support from each other and association from each other, because that's our sort of vital link to Krishna as well. Krishna consciousness is not just done in isolation. Srila Prabhupada talks about two principles, the Gosti and Indi principle and the Bhajanandi principle. We are not at the stage of Bhajanandi. So many people coming to Krishna consciousness are not the stage of Bhajanandi, but in the stage of actually in a very lower platform. In that lower platform, Srila Prabhupada advocates this idea of Gosti and Indi, and actually being present in distributing the holy name, especially outwardly when we're together in places like Harinam. And so there should be regular programs where we're synchronized, but also cooperating with each other, and not feeling that we're not getting the association. Even when we're together, we should be asking each other, how are you, how's things, normal life. Even in normal life, if you think about normal life, just mundane dealings with normal people, we ask them how they are. How was your day? How was this? How was this? Not just to ignore, disregard devotees. So I'd just like to ask you, what is your understanding of associating with devotees and being present for them?
Thank you, Prabhu. Yeah, you asked me question, but then I will take it afterwards. I will ask a couple of people. I want actually personal experiences. Thank you very much. You have also put me on the line that you have really experiences the association and separation. Just to tell in short what I mean by association from parampara. Those who are practicing, following parampara, not only our sampradaya, maybe from other sampradayas. So those are there, those are devotees where the Lord Krishna is in the center. So we are permitted to hear and associate with those devotees also. So this is in brief. The later I will get time, I will elaborate on this. So I will request you give your personal realization about the separation from the kin, the person who to whom we love, or the devotees, or whatever. So I request Rakshita Radhika Mataji to throw some light. Kindly unmute Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you for a really inspiring class. The only time that I had the experience of separation was with my father when he passed on, when he left his body some years ago. And I couldn't bear it. I couldn't accept it more than anything. It was very close around the time of my niece's wedding. It was the first wedding he was going to see, and he didn't get a chance to see that. So, and just not being without him, being very close to him, I struggled to, accept that he'd gone. And, I found it very difficult to sort of say, you know, I felt like I became very angry with Krishna at the time, to be very honest with you. I felt like, you know, he let us all down. He, you know, my father is quite religious. He was, you know, he was in, you know, he encouraged us to stay focused in whatever we do. He always said, you know, always bring Krishna or God into focus. So I felt like he was really, you know, always always, you know, in God consciousness, and yet when we really needed him, he had gone, and that was the most difficult time for all of us, and particularly myself. And I felt it. It took a long time for me to get over. So that is the experience I've had, and I can't describe that feeling that I had, and the anger that I had as well within me, and also, you know, just not having that advice from him, not being around him, not being able to talk to him, not seeing him laugh. You know, it was all a lot of things. Whenever I needed something, you know, whenever I needed to take advice on something, I always know that I went to him, but I lost that. It was all gone, and you know, he wasn't there for me anymore, and it was very, very difficult for me at that time. So yeah, that is the experience I've had.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Thank you very much. Everybody will definitely had some experiences. I'll request His Grace Pradyumna Prabhu to kindly share his own experience. Pradyumna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hari Bol.
Thank you so much for your class today and your association again. The idea of sharing separation is it can both become a painful reflection, but at the same time a process in itself of coping with that pain. This week, on the 10th of March, we will observe the second anniversary of the passing of His Grace Shruti Dharma Prabhu, who was a pillar here in the UK, a pillar of Bhaktivedanta Manor, and a pillar and guide and mentor, and in my own life, somebody who picked me up as a young teenager, and everything I try and do and have today is because of him. So 2 years of separation, 2 years of his passing, have created many reflections of vacuum, many moments of a gap in not having a connection, not having the freedom to speak with him or phone him, and so on. But my reflection on his life and on his personal teachings to me allow those gaps and moments to be filled, even if momentarily. But when I reflect on separation, the day he knew that he had a brain tumor, I went to visit him. He had come back from the hospital. He was with family and other devotees. And then after everyone left, I sat with him, just he and I sat with him. He and I sat together. And for a long time, we sat in silence. We didn't say anything. And then I just held his hand and I said, I just said, Hare Krishna. And the one thing he said to me that is probably the one thing I hold on to cope with being separated from him. He said, now in this situation, I have to be an example. It was so profound. He didn't complain about it. He didn't moan about it. He wasn't pained by it. He knew his time was limited. He was told on that day. But the one thing that he felt was essential and necessary for him at that time, he said, now I have to be an example through this. And he lived for 2 years from the day of being diagnosed. He lived in 2018. He passed away in March 2020. So he had 2 years, and in those 2 years, he was an example of how to leave the world. But more specifically, he was an example in the way he dealt with every devotee who was serving and caring for him, and his expression of immense gratitude for every single carer that looked after him, every single person that came to see him. It just became an indication of how his heart was just full of that gratitude. So today, when I think of him, I dearly miss him. He was my guide in many ways, in all ways, actually. When I when I got initiated by His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami, Shruti Dharma said, now Maharaj, I give I was Pradeep then, now I give him to you. And Jayadvaita Swami said, I initiate him, now I give him back to you. So it was a very special relationship. And the way to deal with the separation is always thinking back, what did he teach me? What were the things he said? How did he live? And what would he want of me? So thank you for this class on these verses that allow us to reflect on separation. Yeah. And thank you for inviting me to speak about Shruti Dharma Prabhu in a week. In just a few days, we will observe his 2nd anniversary of passing. So it's very significant for me this week that you have allowed me to start my thinking process of missing him. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pradyumna Prabhu. In fact, my desire is to hear from each one of you. And whenever time gets, I will personally hear from you, because this is quoted in Nectar of Devotion and in the scriptures and Srimad Bhagavatam, that one who understands separation from a devotee or from the Lord or from the pure devotees, if he get that kind of a realization, then he can understand and progress very fast. Now I find there is no questions on the chat box, so I'll come back to Bhaktiman Prabhu. Prabhu, if I'm not wrong, your question is about the association, isn't it?
Yes.
And
so even though you may be so close, there's also the possibility that you may be so distant.
Yes. So I was thinking your question probably is about if we do not have the association of pure devotee, then how we get closer to the association, how we can get the association, isn't it?
Yeah, but also if you might have physical presence, but there may be no relationship with that person. So obviously we need to develop the relationship. How do we?
Loving relationship. See, this is my realization. Bhagavatam also quoted, given so many examples. There are verses of the verses which can be quoted. But actual understanding of the scripture comes when the scripture reciprocates with you. If you read Srimad Bhagavatam, it becomes a hearing. If you are reading regularly, you get association of book Bhagavatam. Now the question is, who has written the purport? It's written by Srila Prabhupada. So a stage will come, if you are very sincerely reading Srimad Bhagavatam, maybe from the first canto, first chapter, first verse, to the 12th canto, last chapter and last verse, without bypassing. You read it. If you read it sincerely, a stage will come as you progresses in the Bhagavatam, you will find the presence of Srila Prabhupada, as if you are directly hearing from the Srila Prabhupada, because you have developed the taste. Where is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is a ripened fruit. And as you are progressing, Canto 1 and Canto 2, which are nothing but the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. So you have surrendered. Verse by verse, without bypassing reading, translation, and purport. And definitely, my personal realization is, anyone in his life carries this book Bhagavatam, say up to 2 cantos, Canto 1 and Canto 1. So he is associating with book Bhagavatam, and the purport he is associating with the not Vapu, but Vani of Srila Prabhupada. So that is also association. Now, my understanding is anyone who you carry this book Bhagavatam for 2 cantos to read it from place to place, so that you don't miss time, your taste is developed. But the process is not over there. After this, that book Bhagavatam, this book will carry you from 3rd canto to 12th canto. You don't have to go and pick up. You have developed the taste, and attraction and association is already there. And you will find the reciprocation of the book Bhagavatam with you. As you know that 3rd canto, 4th canto, it is described itself in Bhagavatam, and there are some pictures also how it is part of Lord Krishna's body. So you get the association. But the book Bhagavatam, a book doesn't stop there. You will realize in your life, there will be some people coming in your life. Some seva you will be getting it. You are chanting regularly. Why? You want to finish 16 rounds, which was difficult previously, but not so difficult afterwards. The process is very, very slow, but it is perfect. Now you're talking about the association. I was hearing in my native place in India, the place called Nagpur, where the ISKCON temple is there. And the class was given by His Holiness Loknath Goswami Maharaj. It was on Bhagavad Gita. And Bhagavad Gita, he took chapter 12. Why? Because all of his disciples said, Gurudev, we want to know about Bhaktashtakam. Then I was surprised, what is this Bhaktashtakam? What do you mean by Bhaktashtakam? And Maharaj also said, he was laughing, he said, it's not Bhaktashtakam, it is Bhakti Yoga, chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita. And I will take the verses number 13 to verses 12. It is smallest chapter in Bhagavad Gita. So this is called as Bhaktashtakam by devotees. And he was talking about the characteristics and qualities of devotees, one who is practicing as per the instructions of Bhagavad Gita from chapter 1 to chapter 12. And he says that certain qualities has to be developed in a person. That is like loving relations, dealings with others, change in your behavior, giving up your lust or control of lust, and then attraction for chanting. Various qualities are given. Now I am not taking that. And after the class, some of his disciples says, Gurudev, we are there in the movement more than 15 years, but we don't have developed all these qualities. Not all these qualities, we find that's not even few qualities. Now the answer was given by Loknath Goswami. He was saying that there is nothing wrong with the Bhagavad Gita and 12th chapter and all these verses. There's a slow process, and if it is not happening, changes is not taking place in you, then you have to re-engineer. You have to rethink what is the reason. Definitely, there are some deviations which you have not practiced as per the instructions. Similarly, in Bhagavatam, if you do not practice, if you just read just like a storybook and do not practice in your life, do not reciprocate with the people according to it, even if you're the material life also. You are reading Bhagavatam, you are trying to understand with sincerity, but you are not practicing. So here Loknath Goswami says, then there is something wrong. You first restart reading it again and find out what is wrong in your behavior. Correct it, you will definitely get the result. Srimad Bhagavatam is also like that. Prabhupada says, if you don't find result, you are not getting result, there's something wrong. That means you are not practicing, you are just reading it, you are just hearing it. Like chanting, we say that chanting comes complete, not by saying Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. When you are chanting, saying from your mouth, you have to hear with your ear. The circuit is complete once you hear it sincerely. Then you will definitely find the result of chanting. Similarly, Bhagavatam, if you are reading, hearing, as it says from the verses, that a person get attracted even if he hears once. He keeps on hearing. So he developed the taste. So similarly, if you are only hearing and not reproducing the glories of the Lord, meaning thereby Prabhupada gives the solution for it. He says, the moment you read anything from the Srimad Bhagavatam, you reproduce it, tell somebody, discuss with somebody, or even if nobody is there, even a small child who doesn't understand, who don't know, but make an effort to repeat it. The benefit is you are practicing it, putting it into behavior, in application. And do you feel that book Bhagavatam, who is not other than Krishna itself, will remain quiet? He is there within everyone's heart as a super soul, and he will definitely interfere. He will give you potency to say it boldly. Sometimes you will be surprised when you are saying something, where from you get the ideas. If you are suddenly asked to give a class and you find you are not prepared, and at the end of the class you will find everything is all right, where from you got that potency? Is only association of book Bhagavatam, association of devotee to whom you are reproducing. Even you are spreading the mercy of book Bhagavatam by reproducing, discussing. That means you are glorifying Lord Krishna. And do you feel the Lord will remain quiet? So this is how association is. Association of pure devotee doesn't mean that all the time you go and catch hold of a pure devotee. One day, I think I'll just take 2 minutes. Say the intimacy with devotee or intimacy with Guru. There are so many questions are there, so many answers will be there. What is the intimacy? One day in our class, Guru Maharaj was talking about the intimacy, and then he says the intimacy doesn't mean that you should go and wash the clothes of Guru, you should always sit in front of him, you should always talk with him. It doesn't mean. Intimacy means you know Guru, you got the mercy of Guru. He says the real intimacy is allowing others. Don't insulate, don't go in front of Guru and take his valuable time. Allowing others to get mercy of your Guru, so that they can approach your Guru, you help them to go connect with your Guru. That's intimacy. And he says, somebody was asking a question, how I have a desire to serve my Guru directly, and I'm not able to, because there are so many people in between, I can't approach, even I cannot go close. So when this question was asked, he asked question to the same person, don't you know what you mean by serving the Guru directly? Actually, then he explained that serving your Guru directly means not go and do activities with physical. He says that Guru gives you instruction. Every Guru gives the instructions to everyone, to their disciples, to the other people, outside the society, through their lectures. Their lectures should be heard sincerely. That's association. Association with the Guru comes when you hear sincerely from your Guru. That becomes association. And by doing that, you get a mercy of Guru. It is given in, lastly, to conclude with, regarding the association. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, that anyone, now you raise question about pure devotee, that anyone hears from the lotus mouth of Guru. Now, Guru can be anyone who is talking about love of God. We can go a little further from your Shiksha Guru or from Diksha Guru. Anyone sincerely, with full absorption, hearing sincerely from the lotus mouth of Guru, then what is the result? It says love of God awakens within his heart immediately. It doesn't take much time. That is what we say, sadhu sangha, lava matra sadhu sangha. So love of Godhead awakens, and that is why you get the interest in reading Bhagavatam, hearing Lord's glories, and the process starts. And there is no end to it, because it is slow process, and there is no negative effect, always goes on increasing. So it is not like a material life. I think you are satisfied with the answer.
Brilliant, thank you very much. You really put important points about Vani over Vapu, which is important point. Also about the spiritual master and our Shiksha Gurus as well.
Okay.
So these points underpin that. So it's wonderful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Since it is, we are cross 9 with everyone's permission, and I don't find any question in the chat box, I'll take leave of all of you. Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kalpavruksha Vanchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhu bhayechud patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you, Karuna Chaitanya Prabhu, for giving me such a beautiful honor, wonderful honor.
Thank you, Prabhu. It was wonderful class, interactive class. Thank you so much once again. And we hope that we hear from you again and again while you're present in your presence is in Leicester. Thank you. His Grace Balakrishna Prabhu ki jai.
Wonderful, wonderful class.
And thank you everyone for participating. We'll again meet next Sunday. Another wonderful speaker. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.